and I'm going to present our Hackfest in Team Anonymous. So I'm David, and my team is Shayan, Manuel, and Pablo. So we did the challenge 2, 5, 6, and 10. We completed, and then in the challenge 7 and 8, we just propose a solution and for our future work to complete it. The first challenge was to change the technology selection of the slices between level 2 and level 3. And the problem was that it was hard-coded in the selected way function. So when we when we call the select way function, it was just hard-coded to L3, L2 VPN. So now what we did was in the realize function, we select the slice service method. So we check what slice service method was using in the ITF intent. So if it was L2, we put the L2 VPN, and if it was L3, we use the L3 VPN and then put that variable in the select way function. So then to check it, we changes the slice request from L2 to L3, and the results basically shows that we have the new intent of L3 VPN intent received. So now we can choose between L2 and L3 VPN. In the challenge 5, it was the slice deletion. So we need to change the delete flows function to remove the slice services. So how we did it? First, we changed in the helpers.py, we changed the simple delete. So we did an HTTPS or HTTP user with a user password and Teraflow IP. So we did the RESTCON call to the L2 VPN or L3 VPN, and then we just send a request to delete that slice with the service type and the service ID. So we waited to be deleted, and then we should receive a service deleted. So that was the simple delete. So also we need to change the delete NS from controller, and it's kind of the same. So if we need to upload the Teraflow, we connect to Teraflow connector and do the simple delete with the mentioned service type and service ID. And then this was the deletion, but we need to check if the slice exists in the database. So we check if it's the slice exists with the slice ID, then we get the slice type, and then we call the delete NS from controller that is going to call the simple delete. And then also this one is important change that we did, because when creating that request in Teraflow, we use an UUID. So we put the slice name, but then also it was with a timestamp. So in that moment, it creates the name with a timestamp. So each time we create a slice, it's going to have like a random name, but it's going to be the timestamp. So we change it to be the UUID of the Teraflow service ID is going to be the same as the slice ID that we had in the int. So with that, we have the results. So we post the slice creation, and it says just as success, and then we can see a new service created in the Teraflow web UI. And also we have the deletion. We now are going to delete that slice. So we put the slice ID, and then in the service is going to be deleted in the Teraflow. And then we have the challenge 6, that is basically to modify a slice. So this challenge was solved in the challenge before, because when we change the name of the service UID to the slice ID name, now when we create that slice again, it's going to have the same name as the intent, no a random one. So when we going to modify the slice, it's going to find it, and then if it has the same name, it's going to modify it instead of create a new one because of this name. So this one was also solved in the previous one. So here are the results. We have this slice ID from the intent. So now when we create this service, service in TerraFlow is going to have the same name here. The name is going to have the slice service and the name. So now if we change, we put this slice ID with a new intent, for example, changing here the metric bounds, it's going to change it in TerraFlow to the new values. And there was an extra in this challenge, but we noticed that it was not possible to modify the current service from L2 to L3. This is my take. It was not possible because in TerraFlow it was not implementing the L3 VPN. So now go to the challenge 10. It was basically now to implement a database from the slices, we have a JSON to save the databases. So now what we want was to create an SQL database instead of the JSON, and then implement everything of create, remove, update, and delete. So what we did was, instead of using that slice database.json, we created that database.py to have all of the CRUD system in the SQL. So we have here the init, the save data, the update data, delete data, get data, and also because we can get all slices or delete all slices, we have the get all data and delete all data. So now we are going to use this Python file, this database Python file, to access the new database. That is going to be a SQLite database. So now first we need to initialize this database. So the app have now a new database. So in the app.py, first of all, we initialize this database. And then the changes are going to be, first, in the network slide controller, we are going to change the get flows and the store data. So in the get flows, instead of having to get the JSON, put that JSON into a dictionary of Python, we now just need to call that new function of get all data, and then we are going to obtain the new content as a dictionary. And then the same is the same in the store data function. So instead of calling the JSON and change it, we just need to call the update data. If the new slice, we want to create the new slice, we just need, well, sorry, we check if the slice is already there. So if it's not already there in the else, we are going to create it. So we just need to have a save data with the slice ID from the content and then if the slice is already there, we just update it with the update data function. And then also in the network slide controller, we are going to modify the delete flows. So the same, instead of accessing the JSON file, we just need to check if we want to delete just one slice or all slice. So if we want to delete one slice, we just call the get data with the slice ID and then call the function that we did before, we changed it before, the delete ns from the control, specifying the slice type that we get from the slice and the slice ID. And then in the else, if we want to delete all the slices, we just do an else and we just need to call the function of the database delete all data, and it's going to be removed. So now the results, we create, the program create this new .db database file here, and then if we add a slice to the database, we are going to see two columns. The first one is the slice ID, and the second one is going to be their intent, that is going to be a JSON in the test format. So we can see here the slice ID of the new slice and all the information of the intent. And then if we do the modification, obviously it's going to check the slice ID and modify the slice that we want. So here, again, we can see here that is in the metrics, it's 2005 milliseconds. And then here we have now the 3010 milliseconds. So it's updated in the database. And then the same for the to delete and slice or delete all slices. If we post it, we just delete it in the database. And then in the challenge 7 is what because the slide component now is deprecated. So we thought about this challenge, and instead of completely delete this component because it's kind of complex, we are just going to update the web UI of TerraFlow to, instead of call this component, is going to call directly the NST API, IP. And then in future work, we should change it to in the TerraFlow component to not use this slice component. And in the challenge 8, we also propose a solution. So again, instead of creating a new web UI component in TerraFlow, we just can call from the web UI component of TerraFlow in a REST IP to call this NST MBI. So if we want to create a new slice, a post request. If we want to delete a slice, delete request, modify a slice, put request, and retrieve a slice, get request. So also we need to add to the web UI text box to include the IP and the port of the NST IP instead of hard coding it in our code.